Oh, hello. Welcome to the online music school. I'm Richard. This is the first guitar lesson. Please press like and subscribe. Okay, so the first lesson is about learning the notes on the guitar. Now, if you already know the notes on the guitar, you can skip this, but it's important to know the notes on the guitar to have a basic knowledge of it before you can do any chords or anything fancy, you know, any chord progressions like anything like that. You need to know the notes of the guitar. So, it would be ideal if you have your own guitar for this lesson to help you, but I'll break it down for you. Firstly, let's break down the parts of the guitar. Every guitar has a head, a neck, and a body. At the head of the guitar is where the strings begin. Some guitars have plastic strings, recommended for beginners, and some strings are steel, including on electric guitars and bass guitars. They're tied into machine heads or tuning pegs in the head. Depending on which way you turn them, turning them makes the string tighter or more slack, and tunes the string by making it higher or lower. The white part is called the nut, which correctly spaces the strings. Moving down to the neck, the lines on the guitar are called frets. Pressing each fret gives a different sound, but don't press on the lines, press between them. The whole section is called the fretboard. Finally, the body of the guitar. If you have an acoustic guitar, it has a sound hole. The sound waves travel from the strings inside the guitar and back out, acting like a speaker. For an electric guitar and electric bass guitars, instead of sound holes, they have pickups and sockets. The sockets will connect with a wire, commonly to a guitar combo amp, a little box with speakers and controls. The strings on the guitar end at the bridge. On an acoustic guitar with plastic strings, a special knot ties them to the bridge. With a steel string guitar, the strings are passed through the bridge and have a ball at the end to fasten the string. Now let's get started on the notes of the guitar. The letters of the alphabet are the best way to describe the notes on the guitar, starting with A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You can play a note on the guitar simply by pressing your finger on the fret. Remember to stay between the lines and press hard enough so the note is clear. Or you can play an open string, playing a specific string without pressing any frets. Many chords use a mixture of pressing frets and open strings. If you look at your guitar from the front, the open strings will be from left to right, E, A, D, G, B, E. You can use the fun acronym Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie, to remember. On a bass guitar, the strings are slightly different depending on how many strings the bass guitar has. Remember, no matter what guitar you hold, the thinnest string is the first string and the thickest string is the last string. So the string numbers are read right to left, kind of like a mango. Here's a diagram from the front of your guitar where the notes are placed. We'll come back to this and the place of each note will make more sense. For now, just understand how the diagram relates to you. For example, on the thickest E string, you can play the note E openly without pressing anything, or play F by pressing the first fret. And now let's learn about whole steps and half steps. A whole step, if you look at the frets on the guitar, the lines, is over 2 frets like this. And a half step is between just 1 fret to the other. A whole step is known as a tone, and a half step is known as a semitone. On the diagram, you can see that some notes are a distance of 2 apart, like A to B. This is a tone. Some notes are a distance of 1 apart,
like B to C. This is a semitone.
Finally, let's learn about sharps and flats.
On the diagram, you can see the notes that we've talked about, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, called natural notes. But what about the notes in between? They are called sharps and flats, or accidental notes.
You can identify sharps and flats with the little B that's next to the note, or the hash that's next to the note. The little B means it's flat, and the little hashtag or the hash means it's a sharp.
Looking at your fretboard and the notes we've already identified, if there is a space in front of the note, it is known as the sharp, and the space behind the note is known as the flat. Looking at the note F, for example, on the thickest string and the first fret, there's a space in front of it. The space 1 semitone in front of F is known as F sharp. Or looking at G, the space 1 semitone in front of G is G sharp. Minor detail, every accidental note is identified as sharp except for E flat and B flat. They can't be known as D sharp or A sharp technically. This is because the way E and B are arranged, there can be no B sharp because C already exists, and there can be no E sharp because F already exists in front. We go backwards to identify those notes every time instead. It's a minor detail, may not be easy to understand, but just know that the arrangements of accidentals are always sharp, like F sharp, G sharp, unless it is E flat and B flat. These are the only two exceptions. When you put the A, B, C, D, E, F, G notes together with the accidental notes, you'll end up with 12 notes. As a task, see if you can write down all 12 notes in order on the E string. Use the diagrams that we've used already to help you. I'll help you get started. E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, B flat, not A sharp, remember? You finish off the rest. The answers are in the description of this video, which you can check in your own time. Feel free to ask any questions by leaving a comment.
Well, that about does it for this first lesson. Please press like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. God bless you.